Over the last 12 days, I've now done over 1,500 reps of leg press. Most people would say, bro, you are overtraining. You are doing way too much work. You're doing too much lifting. You're overtraining. You're wasting your time. But I don't feel that way at all. I feel like I'm recovering so fast. What is going on, world? It is day 12 of the Hormozi experiment. Luckily, today is a rest day, so all I have to do is slam 800 grams of carbs today, and I don't have to do 2 workouts today, thankfully. But tomorrow, we're starting our 4th 3-day cycle, and I thought today would be a great time to give you guys an overall perspective on how I'm feeling in general. In the vlogs that I'm taking you guys through, I'm really trying to show you that I'm following the parameters of this experiment as closely as I can to Alex Hormozi. I'm sticking to the macros, I'm sticking to the workouts, and I'm not faltering as much as I possibly can. But if you watch my last vlog, I'm going to start changing things up slightly with the diet. And overall, as long as I'm hitting the macronutrients of 800 grams of carbs a day, about 200 grams of protein, and keeping my fat levels under 50 grams of fat, I'm going to start changing up the foods that I'm eating compared to what Alex Hormozi put on his article. Now, I am going to stick to it for the most part, but I'm going to start introducing a few things like donuts and having some fun with the diet, and might do a few little fun experiments and food challenges along the way. But again, the main goal is to keep the fat under 50 grams of fat for the day and shoot for 800 grams of carbs and 200 grams of protein. So before I go change up the diet, I want to let you guys know how I'm feeling overall. In these vlogs, I'm taking you through how I'm feeling intermittently as the days are going on. But overall, I used to do intermittent fasting before this. And now I'm going from fasting for, 16 to 18 to 20 hours a day. Sometimes I'm even doing like 36 to 40, 45 hour long fasts and going to the gym fasted all the time. And over the last 12 days now, I'm eating right when I wake up in the morning and pretty much right before I go to bed at night. So intermittent fasting is now out of the window, and I'm eating a lot more carbs and a lot more frequently than I did in the past. When I was doing intermittent fasting, I was on more of a higher fat, lower carb diet as I've been leaning down to get ready for this experiment. So in this video, I want to discuss that aspect of how I feel differently there, as well as this training that I'm doing. Over the last 12 days, I've now done 3-day cycles of this workout. And if you calculate things out, I've now done over 1,500 reps of leg press. And I'm not doing light leg press either. I'm doing over 500 pounds of leg press. So in the last 12 days, I've done over 1,500 reps of over 500 rep leg press. I've done over probably 450 reps of bench press. And that's only the AM workouts. That's not even counting the afternoon workouts that I'm doing on top of this. So in the last 11 days, I've gone to the gym and worked out or weightlifted or bodybuilt, whatever you want to call it, 18 times. And to be honest, I'm really not feeling sore at all. You would think after doing so much reps of leg press at such heavy weight and doing it day after day after day with only 1 day rest, that my recovery would be horrible. But I'm actually seeing very different results there. So in this video, we're going to cover 2 things: how I'm feeling overall with transitioning into this different diet and how I'm feeling. And then another thing I want to discuss is, am I overtraining with this program? So if you have no idea what the Hormozi experiment is, this is your first time coming to a video that I've ever created here, go check out the description box below. It will fill you in on this crazy bulking program that I'm doing, created by Alex Hormozi. I'll touch on it very quickly here, but basically it's a 6-week bulking program where you're eating 800 grams of carbs a day, 200 grams of protein, and 50 grams of fat. And the whole thing here is about keeping your fat levels low. This whole bulking program is actually based off a scientific study that I broke down in a separate video. And the whole concept is that if you're going to bulk, instead of doing a slight caloric surplus when you're bulking, or if you're going to go in a higher caloric surplus, doing it by eating whatever you want, they found in this scientific study that if you go in a high caloric surplus, and of that high caloric surplus, it's actually high carb, like really high carb and really low fat, that there was a drastic difference in the amount of muscle gain that was able to occur during the period of this study. That's the whole paradigm of the diet. And then along with the diet, what you're also doing is you're working out 2 times a day, 6 days a week. So you're working out 3 days on, 1 day off. And as I mentioned there, tomorrow I'm heading into my 4th 3-day cycle, and I'm about to change things up in regards to the diet right now. Let's get into the diet and how I'm feeling. Because as I mentioned earlier, I used to do intermittent fasting. I used to go periods where I wasn't eating for 16 to 18, sometimes 20, 24 hours typically. I used to fast every single day, and I've been doing this for about a decade now. And in general, I've noticed some different changes here that are going on. So with this diet, I'm noticing things like I'm more irritable. I'm feeling more anxious throughout the day when I'm working on my business and my work that I have to do. It's obviously a very different lifestyle than what I was doing prior to this. So when I was doing intermittent fasting on a daily basis, what I find is that I can get into a really deep and focused state. When you're fasted and your body's used to this, I think if you're new to fasting, it can be a little hard. You can be irritable. You can feel anxious, just like I might be feeling on this new diet with all these carbs. But once your body's adapted and used to it, if you're an intermittent faster, you know that when you are 12, 14, 16 hours into a fast, it's a different level of mental focus. I can really get deep and focus on something for a long period of time and focus deeply on that. And I'm not thinking about other things going on. Now, my body, I believe, is still getting adapted to this new high carb diet. And I think over time, things will even out a little bit. But 12 days in, I'm noticing that I'm so much easier to get distracted when I'm working. It's harder to get into this deep focused state. And then on top of that, I'm also noticing, and I don't know if it's because I'm finding that I'm getting more distracted, or right now I am working out 3 hours a day and having to eat and prepare all this food. So it is taking up more of my day-to-day time, which obviously affects my personal goals and my goals with my business and the amount of time I can work on that other stuff. And I don't think it's negatively affecting how much time I can put into there. So I wouldn't say I'm working less on my work and my business, but what I'm noticing is that as I'm hopping from task to task or having to move from one task to the other, I don't know what it is or how to explain it, but I feel this anxiousness, this anxiety within me, like I'm not doing enough, or I'm not working hard enough, or I'm not good enough. I don't know how to describe it. I'm just trying to articulate how I feel inside to you guys. But that's one big thing that I've noticed differently between being a regular intermittent faster and now adapting to this new high carb diet. I'm definitely feeling bouts of anxiety throughout the day. And I'm also getting more distracted. It's harder to focus on my tasks and do deep focused work. Along with that, too, little things I'm finding I get irritated so much easier from. And it's not like I get mad or upset or I get in a roid rage or get all crazy. It's one of those things where I'm like, oh, that's frustrating. That's annoying. And as I step back from my perspective and just try to process that thought and that feeling that came in, I'm like, wow, I didn't used to feel that way. I didn't used to feel I would get irritated off of little things as much when I was fasting or not eating throughout the day. So again, this might pass with time, but it's definitely something I'm noticing here. Higher levels of anxiousness and anxiety throughout the day, higher levels of distraction while trying to do deep work. And then on top of that, more irritability. Little things that are just, it's a whatever thing. With my job, my business, there's so many little things, so many moving parts that things don't work out greatly all the time, right? You got to fix things. Someone messed up. Oh, there's a spelling error. Big deal. Whoop-de-doo. But right now, it's just like, it feels like it's such more of an emotional effect to me when I'm noticing these mistakes. So there's definitely a third thing there is like, I feel more irritated and more irritable on this diet. So that's how I'm feeling in general overall. Of course, I'm having like 4 big high carb meals throughout the day. So I'm having these regular periods of like, I will carb up, I'll feel good for half an hour, and then I'll kind of crash and get tired. And then luckily I'm kind of going to the gym most of the time before or right as I'm about to get to that tired point. So I'm like physically getting my body up and awake. But after the big bowl of pasta meal, if you guys are following along, I'm eating sometimes 300 to 350 grams of carbs for my second meal of the day. And an hour after eating that thing, man, you start to crash. I'd say about half of the days I've been having a 45-minute to 1 hour power nap. Probably half the days I've had a power nap or just try to push through it, and then I'll have a longer sleep at night. So I'm noticing that as well too, is that compared to intermittent fasting, where I'm not having these periods throughout the day where I'm getting high on carbs and then crashing and then high and crashing, when I'm intermittent fasting is just kind of an even feeling throughout the day. And then I have a couple meals where I might feel a little tired after it, but it's usually I'm eating it later in the day anyways, and I've done my workout already. And this, what might be fueling the anxiousness and the anxiety and the irritability, is that I'm having these frequent highs and lows throughout the day that my body is not really used to in general. So overall, that's how I'm feeling. I have showed in a couple of vlogs as well too that I am breaking out in a couple weird places. I had a couple like pimples come up on my chest and as well as like on my arm. For the most part, they've definitely faded away. They aren't coming back, or I'm not getting more of them, that's for sure. I haven't really checked out my face or anything too much lately, but I haven't noticed anything besides, I believe, on day 6 or something. In one of my vlogs, I kind of showed you guys that I was breaking out a little bit. So that's it for the most part in regards to how I'm feeling. As I mentioned in my latest vlog, for the most part, this is just life now. For me, I'm really used to doing these kind of like marathon experiments that take several months. So once my lifestyle is adapted to it, it's not a big deal to me. I'm just like, hey, this is life now. After day 3, I'm like, hey, these are the macros. These are the foods I need to eat. These are the workouts I need to do. And this is just part of my life now. And I just need to put in the work and shut my mind out when I go to the gym and then just focus. And when I'm making the food and prepping the food and eating the food, I just got to, put in the work and get it all in my system. So now for the big question, am I overtraining? As I mentioned earlier, it is now day 12. I just finished my third 3-day cycle and I'm doing 175 reps of leg press every single day that I'm going to the gym. That means in 9 days, I've done 9 times 175, which is like 1,575 reps or something like that. And the first 3 days, I started at 550 pounds, then stepped it up to 600 pounds. And then the last 3-day cycle, I just did 650 pounds. So over 1,500 reps of leg press, over 500 pounds each rep. And then on top of that, I'm still doing 7 sets of 7 reps of bench press. So that's about over 450 reps of bench press, I believe, in these last 11 days. And then on top of that, I'm still doing a full afternoon workout. So most people would say, bro, you are overtraining. You are doing way too much work. You're doing too much lifting. You're overtraining. You're wasting your time. But I don't feel that way at all. I don't feel sore at all. There's times when I'm like walking down the stairs in the morning after, doing the second day of 175 reps of leg press. And then I do squats. And then the third day I'm walking in the gym, I'm like, oh, I can kind of feel it, but I'm not like sore to the point where I can't walk anymore. Like sometimes happens on some leg days when you go really hard, right? So it's actually super surprising that I'm putting in all this work and I'm putting in all this effort, but I feel like I'm recovering so fast. And this is why I think there's some legitimacy behind this crazy experiment, this crazy program, and this crazy way to bulk. I believe there is something here with the carbs and keeping your fat levels low that you can work out so much more than you probably naturally could doing a typical bros bodybuilding split. And because you're eating all these carbs, you have all this extra kind of like recovery going on. Again, I'm not a scientist. I don't know this stuff. I'm just here to share my experiences with you guys. But again, over 1,500 reps of leg press. And I'm still going to the gym later in the afternoon workout, ready to go and able to smash out another 150 reps of leg extensions and do 3 sets of 20 reps of squats. How is that even possible? I don't know. I'm just here to share my experience with you guys. But in general, I don't feel any soreness at all going on right now. So there's definitely something here. But that's it for me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a little update on how things are going on day 12 of the Hormozi experiment. My goal here is to keep you guys as updated as I possibly can, being as great of a human experiment as I possibly can be, because if this actually works, if you guys are able to see noticeable muscle growth on my body after just 6 weeks of doing this as a natural lifter who's been lifting for well over 15 years, then I think there's something here. And we need to question a lot of these young guys who are looking to steroids and SARMs and all these other unnatural ways to achieve muscle growth and to achieve their desires. Is maybe, and again, I don't believe anyone should truly do this unless you're as crazy and as insane and as committed as I am to do this, 42 days of doing this. If you are this crazy and you want to see muscle growth and you're willing to take steroids, I really think you should question maybe doing something like this first. But of course, we need to see if this actually works here on myself first and then replicate it with a few other crazy people like myself who are willing to do it. So let's see what happens. We are now on day 12. We have another 30 days of this experiment to go, one more month, and I'm going to take you guys through it as closely as I can and document this wild bulking experiment. As of right now, I stood on the scale this morning and I was up 17 pounds in the last 12 days. So I've gained more than a pound every single day. Now, do I think that is all muscle? Hell no. Do I think that's all fat as well too? I don't think so, because guys, like, I'm still lean for the most part, and I don't feel like I'm putting on gross fat and gross weight. But we will see at the end of this experiment. We've got another 30 days to go, and I'm excited to continue to take you guys through it. So if you guys like this video, if you guys are enjoying this experiment, this crazy journey that I'm on with the Hormozi experiment, make sure you smash that like button. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think I'm overtraining? Do you think you can handle this diet and this workout routine yourself? I'd love to know, so go leave it in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one. I am the Hungarian Experiment.